I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to a live podcast, a live episode of the Cryptid Podcast. It's great to see everybody come in. I'm your host, Dano, and you guys, I'm telling you right now, I have an amazing guest on for you tonight. I have a worldwide author. We were just talking in the lobby, and you guys, I'm telling you, once you guys hear from her, hear her stories, hear how she gets motivated to do her things, trust me, you're gonna go look for her stuff, and I'll have her tell us exactly where we can find all of her stuff. So again, just let you guys know, the giveaway for a hat and a couple stickers has now ended. So what I'm gonna do is I'll probably pick the winner sometime tomorrow and post that on here as well. Again, thank you so much for all the support that you guys show me and the channel. I truly appreciate it. And again, if you guys have had an account and you'd like to come on the show, please email me at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com, thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. You guys, I'm not even going to wait anymore. Let's bring Luka T. Jacobs onto the show. Hi, Luka.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on and do this podcast with me.
It's my pleasure.
As soon as I started reading about you, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be great. So
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So I told you in the green room or lobby, whatever we want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some questions. Okay. Now, again, at first I did a little bit of researching, and it kind of led me in a wrong direction because I was under the impression that you had an encounter with a Yowie. And I have, that is one of my bucket list interviews, is to have one with the Kushtaka, the otter man in Alaska, the Yowie in Australia, the Jersey Devil out of New Jersey, the Pine Barrens, one with the Mothman and Goatman. And then I just learned of something that's in Australia, the brown jack. They're saying it's like a smaller version of a Yowie.
The Yowie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it in the traditional name, the Aboriginal name. But yes, I mean, it's the same creature. It's just same as the Yowie, just much shorter, say like I believe around 5 foot sort of thing, maybe shorter, 4 foot. But they tend to be a little bit more aggressive. So it doesn't matter that they don't have the height. They're still pretty,
Now, the Aboriginal pronunciation starts with a B. Am I correct?
I can't remember because I just never try to attempt to say it because I will stuff it up.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's but yeah, I've heard the stories that, they are much more aggressive than the typical Yowie. And when it comes to the Yowie, it's very similar. It's just pretty much the same thing as, Bigfoot there, Sasquatch there. Probably not seen as much as it is there. Obviously, you guys have got a heck of a lot more people that live there than we do. But nonetheless, it's still it's still seen here, and there's plenty of podcasts and encounters that you can find on the web. I mean, just 10 minutes from me up on the ridge, there's been encounters up there of the Yowies and the Yowie family. So it's all around. You just got to, go looking for it.
I'm telling you, I'll email you later after this because I need some type of hookup in Australia to get some people. I've talked to a few people.
What? I've got people. I can hook them up with you. And
awesome.
They'd be happy. They've got quite one gentleman I have in mind. He lives up Queensland, and he can tell you quite a few encounters that they do research up there. Not anything official or anything like that, but he could talk your ear off with them. So awesome. I'll put you in contact with him. Then you'll get your Yowie stories.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
That's all right.
So let's start off here with Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I grew up in Sydney and always been the way I got, I guess, into cryptids and things like that is I started off watching, like when I was young, Grizzly Adams. So I became fascinated with grizzly bears and bears of all kind, really. And so throughout my teens, I always wanted to go to the States. We ended up going to the States when I was 17 through, for my brother, he played baseball. My family was heavily involved in baseball. So he went over there to play a team in LA. And that sort of set that bug in. And then, as I mentioned to you earlier, I've traveled quite extensively in the States, lived in Chicago, lived in Minnesota, and up in Calgary, Canada. And I just absolutely love it there. I really do. And I also stayed in Florida too when a hurricane was coming through. That was interesting. But the gators, can't go near the gators. That was a weird thing for me. So then I, other than the traveling there, so I was into wolves and all that sort of thing too. And then I read every single book I could find, get my hands on wolves, bears, whichever, cougars, like when animal attacks, just fascinated me. And then I ran out of books. And so I was like, okay, what else am I going to read? And then I happened to come across a Bigfoot book of encounters. And that just led me down the rabbit hole, as it tends to do. And then when I remember reading one of the books, it mentioned, like one of the encounters, it mentioned that they'd seen a dogman. And growing up, I'd always been equally scared and equally fascinated by werewolves. Mm-hmm. So this thing that sounded like it looked like a werewolf, I was like, oh my God, they're not real out there, are they? So I went down that rabbit hole too and became fascinated with the dogman. In terms of how did I get to writing, my gosh, I've always been a graphic designer since the dawn of time, and that allowed me to travel, obviously. But then just before COVID, I opened an art supplies business and was an artist. And then that finished and I didn't know where to go. Always had a plan, and suddenly I didn't have a plan. And then my partner mentioned to me, he goes, the way you tell a story is with so much detail, and you go off on tangents and things like that. And he tunes out, within 10 seconds. He goes, you should write a book. He'd always said it to me. And I decided, okay, I've got nothing else to do here. I'll write a book. And nowhere did I expect that anyone would read it, even my family. And I put it up. I had no idea what I was doing other than the design aspect and the marketing. But I put it out there on Amazon and people liked it. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I wrote, and they were asking for a sequel. I said, okay. So I did that, and then it just sort of blossomed from there. And I started a few series, Night of the Dogman. Then I did Nicole Beretti thriller series. A lot of people love her. She's pretty kick-ass. And also a Forest of the Sasquatch series as well. So, and that takes place in Superior National Forest, Minnesota, of course. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. I can't believe people actually read it, let alone, then they'll leave a good review. So I'm just going to write it as long as my luck keeps going in the good way.
I think it's awesome that you picked up on it so quickly and were able to produce the books. Like, how many titles do you have out there?
Like 10, 12.
Nice.
Because, and people go, how do you write so fast? And I've got undiagnosed, but I'm getting diagnosed soon on, no doubt, ADHD. So my brain has to be busy. And it's my full-time job now. So I've gotten a sort of nothing else to concentrate on. So, if you were working full-time in your job, you're doing it efficiently too. So that's what I do. I spend a lot of my, the quiet hours at night writing. and then editing and all that sort of thing. So, and when you love something, you're going to, put a bit more effort and time into it anyway. So I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, I dedicate a lot of time to it.
Nice.
Got lucky.
Well, I have a question here. So, what keeps you passionate about this subject, even though you've yet to have a personal encounter of your own?
I guess it's just come from my fascination with animals attacking people. Like, I just think, even like sharks, I'd always wanted to, say, go down in one of the shark cages. But at the same time, my anxiety just wouldn't allow it. I'd freak out, and I'd have so many Valium in me that I wouldn't know what I was doing. So it's just that animal attacking human kind of primal kind of thing going on that just really intrigues me, it really intrigues me, but it's just, I don't know. I think it's just that I believe in them because, I mean, how can so many people be wrong? And the and all the proof and whatnot sort of thing, evidence. But it's just the fact that, yep, I could go out there, not that I go out hiking because, again, my anxiety wouldn't allow it, but just the fact that, yep, these things exist. They're so big. They can be like violent, and they can be, just neutral, just like humans. I'm just fascinated by that they exist and that they can really do some damage to us. But again, as I said, I love reading animal attacks. I love the gore and all that sort of stuff. So, yep, bring it on, I say. And the Dogman / werewolf thing, that sort of, I think that's more sort of cunning. So therefore, it elevates that scare or anything like that. So, yeah, it's part fascination, part I'm just gonna, torture myself here.
Awesome. So you had mentioned, your fascination with werewolves and dogmen and stuff like that. Let me tell you a real quick story. And some people in the chat, I think pretty much everybody in the chat's already heard it, but this is a story that my dad told me. It's about an encounter that he had when he was up in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
So he was either getting ready to ship out for basic training, or he was getting ready to ship out to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was probably 18 or 19. And he was up in Alaska where he lived. He lived in Ketchikan, Alaska. And he decided to go out hunting. He wanted one last hunt in before he left. And so he drives down this logging road. And as he's driving, he sees this herd of muleys. And muleys are mule deer. They're bigger than white-tailed deer. They're just massive if you haven't seen one. They cross the road in front of him. They go down this hill. He waits for the whole herd to cross. He gets out. He sprints to where they started going down this hill. He sets up his rifle. He takes out his binoculars and everything. And as he's scanning with the binoculars left to right, trying to see what area they're going down into, what direction they're moving through, he's just looking to the left. And as he starts scanning back towards the right, something catches his attention. And he said it was moving really fast coming in from the left. And so he whipped back, and just as he whipped back and focused on it, he said he saw the biggest, blackest wolf he'd ever seen in his life. And my dad was raised in Alaska. Okay. And
so he's used to seeing them.
Yeah, he's used to seeing wolves. At one time my uncle went hunting, him and my uncle went hunting, and they split up, and my uncle actually went into like a box canyon, and he saw a deer. He was tracking a deer, and it went into this box canyon. Well, he takes a shot at it, and he hits it, but the sound echoes off the wall. Well, what he didn't realize that there was a pack of wolves that were over to the left. And when that shot echoed back at him, he saw all these wolf heads pop up, in this tall grass. And they took off running, and they ran right at him. He thought they were coming at him. but they were running away
Scared.
from that sound. So, you
Mhm.
know, my dad, you know, and my uncle had seen wolves all the time. So my dad's watching this wolf, and he says it goes and it stops next to this tree, and then it stands up on its hind legs and puts its hand, he said hand, up on this tree, and he starts sniffing the air. And my dad he's just watching this thing. And he said it's sniffing and it's sniffing, and all of a sudden it just goes.
No, that
And
would. My Lord.
it looks right at him, and it bares its teeth.
Yikes.
And my dad's sitting there and he's looking at this thing. Next thing you know, it drops down on all fours. And it starts moving pretty quickly towards him.
No way.
And now it gets down in the bottom of like this ravine, and he loses it. He loses it in the brush that's down there. So he brings his rifle up. He's like, if this thing's coming for me, I'm going to shoot it. So he's now glassing with his scope. And as he is watching and going back and forth, he catches movement. So he focuses in on that movement, and he sees it start coming through the brush. And he said it's about 150, 200 meters away from him.
Not that far.
No, not that
Too
far.
close.
So he takes his rifle off safety, and he's getting ready to pull the trigger. And one of the mule deer that was up near the top of the other ridge that was across made some type of noise. I don't know if it bugled or snorted or whatever, but it broke the concentration of what my dad called a werewolf.
Oh, yikes.
And it looked at my dad again, and it turned around and it ran off, and it started going up the ravine that was across the hill that was across from it. And he said it ran up on all fours and then stopped next to another tree, stood back up on its hind legs, and turned around and looked right back at him, showed his teeth, and then took off running up over the other ridge to where the muleys were going.
That's insane.
And my dad said as soon as he saw it crest that ridge, he
was out.
Picked his stuff up and he ran back to his vehicle and tore off into town. And
how many years ago is this?
So my dad went to Vietnam in 1967, I want to say. So probably late 1966.
Wow.
So
and he still so vividly remembers it, of course.
Yeah. You know, and my dad unfortunately passed away in 2014.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But it was one of the craziest stories he ever told me. And he was very, very serious that he's like, I'm not lying. And my dad was not the kind of person that he would make up a story.
Right. And what are you going to gain from it? Like when people say, you know, you're just making things up. I really don't know what you're going to gain from it. You're just going to get, like, if you're talking to the wrong people, ridiculed. So it's not like, you know, I'm going to tell it and I'm going to look bad at us. It's just not it. But my gosh. When it looks at you and all that sort of thing, that would be, I mean, other than seeing it stand on two legs, which wolves shouldn't. Not like that. I don't know how I'd react. And I know a lot of people just, you either freeze or you run or whichever, depending on how far away. But
my dad said he could not believe what he was looking at. He couldn't believe it. He said, I was looking at a werewolf. It was crazy.
Yeah, your brain would just, you know, sort of start glitching because it's like, these are in the movies. They're not, you know, in Alaska. They're not real. They're not 200 meters from me. Dogman. Like I'd like to see a Yowie or a Sasquatch in real life, preferably from a distance, say a car, like everyone says, where it's safe sort of thing, but you still get that, you know, vision sort of thing. But a Dogman, I could happily say I really don't want to ever see one of those. That would just haunt my nightmares, and I've got enough of those anyway. So I don't need anything more for it. So, They but what I was going to say there is the books with the Dogman in it do so much better than the ones with the Sasquatch.
Really?
And I find that really interesting. Yeah, I chose Dogman to write about first because there's so many Sasquatch books out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, okay, well, there was a couple of Dogman and sort of Dogman related ones and all that sort of thing. But I thought, okay, I'm going to start there. And I just found that over, the course of the year, they just did so much better than Sasquatch. I'm like, oh, maybe people are intrigued and fascinated as much as I with the Dogman. Like, it scares you more than, say, a Sasquatch, even though that's scary. But to some degree that, yeah, they get a bigger scare out of the Dogman.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I have a question from Colonel Greasebag McQueen. He's a super nice guy. He's actually had a Dogman encounter in North Carolina.
Yikes.
He asks, are your books on Audible?
That's a long story. They're in the process. I started at the start of the year. I was contacted by a company that does them, and I was like, awesome. People had been asking about them, so they're in production. But I've had to kick their butts a few times, saying, "Can we move this along?" People are asking. So the Night of the Dogman one should be out by Christmas. Also, the Nicole Beretti, a couple of her first ones, that thriller series will be on Audible soon. I'd like it to be much quicker, but no. But it's in the works, so hopefully not too long. But
Awesome.
yeah.
Now, I actually did find one on Audible.
Yeah, the Amazon virtual voice ones.
I think, was it? I think it was
because
Audible.
the individual books I did was Watchtower Reckoning. It would have been the one you read, the Monsters Among Us.
Monsters Among Us, yes.
Yep, that's with the Amazon virtual voice.
Okay.
But the other ones are being like professionally done, real humans and all that sort of thing. So yeah,
I loved it. Again, it was getting a little used to listening to the digital, projected created voices and stuff like that. The female one wasn't that bad, but the male one was, sounded like a cyborg, I guess.
That's right. That's right. And I knew, I read Reddit and whatnot and all that all the time, and I knew people wanted to hear human voices. But as an indie author, we don't have a lot of much money, and I guess a lot of people don't realize how much they cost to produce. Because obviously, the voice actor has to get paid for their time, and it's a lot of time recording and checking. So you're looking at around $2,000 to $3,000 per book to pay for it out of your own pocket. So that's why a lot of indie authors don't jump on that bandwagon unless they've already got, considerable money behind them.
Yeah.
And then when you've got a bunch of series, you've got to choose, okay, which one am I going to start with first? If I could go back, I'd probably do it myself. But given I'd never done it before, I wanted to go with a well-known studio that handles it all for you. And I definitely wanted, for the series that have been really popular, I definitely wanted human voice.
Yeah.
And I also put in the contract that I'd like to choose the voice. So in the end, I got to choose out of two US gentlemen. So I chose one of them and I thought, okay, this could work really good. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah. See, I mean, I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but I'm actually working on 2 books.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you up to?
The main book I'm on, chapter 1 is really long. I think I could break it up into like maybe 3 chapters. So if I do that, I have 5 chapters for one book already.
Yep.
And then,
how many pages?
Oh, I don't know.
Some people do pages and some people say words. How many words? But I always do pages.
I'm in like literally the tens of thousands of words.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good though. That's good.
And then I have another book that I put on the back burner. I had step away from it because it was emotionally affecting me.
Mm.
And I have 9 chapters of that book. I don't think I'll ever release it, but that's probably
Yep.
close to 100 and maybe 190 to 200,000 words.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a huge book. That's a huge
Yeah.
book. But some of the books, like that one for you, it's the process. It doesn't, like, you don't. And I think if I could give anyone advice for writing a book, I mean, anyone can. If I can write a book and people read it, anyone can.
Yeah.
But you don't write like I see on Reddit. Oh, if I write a book, will I make money? Will I become a millionaire? Heck no. 1 out of a million may. And it's not just a quick, rich scheme. YouTube videos will say it is, but we all know that's a lie.
Mm-mm.
You've got to, treat your book like a product and market it. And unlike Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. No, that's not the case in many areas. So, you've got to have the passion behind it. And with that book of yours, for whatever reason you want to, you write a book that may be about, childhood trauma or something that happened in your life that was very traumatic for you, or whatever the case may be. Or even if someone out there writes one about their encounter, it doesn't have to be sent out to the world to read.
Mm-hmm.
It's about that process of getting it on paper, working through the emotions that you had during that encounter, but also the aftermath. That tends to be, a much bigger thing. Not necessarily, but sometimes bigger thing than the actual encounter of having your world shifted like that. So no matter what the book, if people are putting one out there, don't go into it thinking I've got to put this book out to the world. People are going to judge it. And, I'm going to make $1 billion from it.
Right.
I wish. It can just be for you. And then maybe, in 10 years, you'll have the feeling of, yep, I want to put this out, or I want to gift it to friends, or whichever the case may be. It's it doesn't always have to be seen by others for it to be meaningful for the time it took you.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm trying to say.
That big book that I'm working on, I actually planned it to be a trilogy.
Yep.
And so when I started writing it, I already knew what the end of the third book was going to be. I already knew what that was going to be. I just had to fill everything in between. So
that's what I think when I was talking to D.A. Roberts, king of the cryptid books, the other week, we were discussing whether we have the story in our head completely, like from start. Like I think I asked him, when you start a book, do you already have the ending in your mind? And just, sometimes you do. Like sometimes the stories are just there, and other times, like the one I'm releasing next week, Red Eyes, I don't have the ending, but I have all the middle and I have the start. Mm-hmm. So as I'm writing, the ending comes to me. And other times it'll be switched up and I'll know the ending, but how do I get to the ending? It varies. It depends on the stories. Some stories are harder to write than the others, and others I've had in my head for, years. And it just depends on, I guess, my mood, but what sort of thing am I going for? Am I just going for, like, when I did Forest of the Sasquatch 3 just recently, it was set in Superior National Forest, and the Sasquatch, if you have to read books 1 and 2, but Sasquatch go crazy on people and storm a Sasquatch conference. And I thought, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. They're going to the conference to talk about Sasquatch, yet they're attacked by them, a horde of Sasquatch. I thought that was a little bit different. Have a little bit, like it was just a fun fest or a Squatch fest. just action and gore and that sort of thing. So whereas the latest one I'm doing, Red Eyes, as I said, it's more emotional. It's more about grief and things like that. So you can still have a cryptid thriller that not necessarily is just about, the cryptids killing humans or killing whatever.
Yeah.
You can have a mix of the both, and hopefully, people resonate with that. They like that sort of thing. So we'll see.
Yeah. If I can get the courage, I might send you like a chapter of what I have already.
I think you should. You should. As I said, if I can do it, and I'm not even kidding here, and I kid a lot, if I can do it and it can be where I can live on what I make easily, you can do it. And as I said, it doesn't have to be for a money thing. It can just be, okay, I achieved this.
Yeah.
Because I never would have thought I'd write a book. Never. Didn't have plans for it. It wasn't in my head to ever do. And then just, life's like that. It takes you down a different road. I've always been creative, but never thought I'd do a book, let alone 10 books or whichever, or be on a podcast talking about cryptids. I just never thought it, but anything's possible,
I never thought I would do a podcast.
See, there you go.
Seriously.
And you're doing pretty good, and it's building up.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm, as you know, and everybody in the chat knows probably that, we are our own worst critics.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm constantly looking at my product, and I'm looking for more things to improve on. Right. Different setups. What can I do? I mean, before I didn't have any of the color back here. Sometimes it was blue or dark purple with a little bit of red, try to mix it all up. And then, I started out with my laptop using the microphone from my laptop or, a set of headset that had a mic on it, going to that, then to having a camera and a mic,
Right.
And it's just
you got to start somewhere, and like I see on Reddit where there's a one for self-published authors that are getting started, and of course, you got to do it yourself, but it's very similar to starting a podcast. Is that they're like, oh, where do I start? I don't have that much money and I can't afford it, or I've got to plan it out. Like this week I can buy a proper microphone. Next week or next month I could buy this. And it's like, just plan it out, do what you can, but start. That's the biggest hurdle of all, is getting started, putting your ideas down, and also just, like you do, refine it. Treat it as a product. But, obviously still it's not just a product. It's still very personal to you and all that sort of thing. And if it wasn't, then you wouldn't do as well as you are. But you've got to get it out there. And each time I do write a book and I put it out on Amazon, I'm scared to hell that people won't read it, or the ones that have invested in the other books and read it and that I interact with will think it's crap every single time. Just because the last book was well received doesn't mean this one is. And particularly in this Red Eyes one, I've gone in a little bit more direction, as I said, and it focuses on a lot of grief and past trauma. So some people might not want to read about that, and I'll get the bad reviews. But bad reviews are still, people are reading the books, and some people like what the bad reviews say and think, well, no, I'm into that. You may not be, but I am. So they'll read the book based off that. So it somewhat gets easier, but sometimes it doesn't. The more books you put out, the more you're out there, sort of thing. But no, definitely, you just got to go for it. We have one life. And even if you put a book out there or whatever you choose to do, and it fails, man, I've failed so many times in my life, and I've been pretty damn successful too. And my father always told me you have to fail to succeed.
Exactly.
And during those times, I would, shake my fist at my dad, going, "Oh, come on, can't I just succeed for once?" And hold it.
Yeah.
And keep it. And he's like, and it used to bug the crap out of me. He'd go, life's not fair. And I go, whatever.
Yep.
And
Life's
the
not
older I
meant to be
got,
fair. That's what my dad would always say.
yep.
Life's not
And
not meant to be
it's not
fair,
meant to be.
and
Mm-hmm.
things aren't always easy, because if things were easy, then people would be doing it with no problem at
Correct.
all.
And
Then
it
you'd
wouldn't
have,
mean anything.
right, you'd have an overabundance of something that, again, it would
Yep.
have no meaning behind it at all. So,
Absolutely.
let me ask you this question here.
Mhm.
Do you recall the first story or sighting that really captured your imagination?
It was probably that Dogman one. And from what I remember it, I've got a terrible memory, which is not good when you write books. That's where you got to write things down, but ADHD. Anyways, see, I'll go off on tangents. It was probably that Dogman one that shocked me because I didn't expect it, because it was primarily about Bigfoot sightings. But she saw it from afar. She saw it standing near the woods. I guess it was that one. But in terms of ones that's really stood with me, when I've listened to podcasts, it's like that one that you mentioned that your dad had. When it's not recognizes you, when it knows you there and it's letting you know it knows you there. Like, these things can probably smell you a mile away. And half the time people, that see them from afar and it doesn't turn around, doesn't mean it doesn't know you're there. It just doesn't see you as a threat. So it's those ones that, I don't know, they stare at you and they show their intelligence. They're the ones that really, I don't know, well, intrigued me more. But, getting some ideas for the books, like some of the encounters, I listen to podcasts. I do that a lot, and like a variety of podcasts. Just like, now I've subscribed to yours, and I'll be listening to them, nonstop, driving whenever, and I like to listen to them before I go to sleep, so I scare the crap out of myself. Excuse me. And one I did the other night, because I stay up pretty late, and my partner's already in bed, long gone, and I listened to one. It was about a dogman the other night, and holy crap, I needed to go to the bathroom. I'm old, and I didn't want to get up, even though the light was on in the hallway. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a dogman in my house. So I think anything with the dogman, but once they know you're there, but also show you there, show that they know you're there. The intelligence is probably the creepiest part.
Yeah.
And their cunningness, I think, as well, more so than I think a Sasquatch can have.
Yeah.
And, as you would know, a lot of encounters, people say they just give off this evil aura.
Oh, for sure.
And not necessarily do Sasquatch all the time do that.
A lot of people say who have encountered dogmen, they feel an overwhelming sense of dread.
Right.
And, it just, I know for a fact I would never, ever want to encounter a dogman at all. Now, I've had, a total of 5 encounters with Bigfoot.
Really?
Well, what I can, okay, so I didn't realize that the very first 2 that I had were Bigfoot. And even to this day, I'll never say 100% they were Bigfoot, but the circumstances surrounding each one of the encounters, it couldn't be anything other
What
than
else? Yeah.
yeah.
What else could it be?
And then I had my sighting when I was 12 in Graham, Washington. And then I had one when I was in the Pine Barrens at Fort Dix, New Jersey, while I was doing some training in the Pine Barrens. That one, I believe that's what it was. I didn't get a great look at it, but again, what else could it be? And then I had my final encounter, and this is the one that changed my life. For the worst, I want to say, because it completely took me out of something that I loved doing. And it was me and my little brother. And that day he showed me his wherewithal. He showed me what he was about, what his spirit was, what his integrity was, and yeah, that one
That's the
completely.
flip side.
Yeah, and it's I'm fighting emotions right now, even mentioning it, because it was such a is a hard one to go through. And the more that I thought about it, it just, yeah, this is what it was. It escorts out, but just I saw my brother, my baby brother. I saw him in a different light.
Mhm.
He's no longer quote unquote my little brother. He's a man,
Mm.
and he stood on his 2 feet, and he stood his ground. And you know, I'll tell you that story, because I do not want to break down when I tell you, but I'll tell you in the lobby. But
Yep.
it's it's I'm not gonna say it's my overall favorite one, but in a way it is, because it involved my little brother.
Mhm.
And he passed away in 2016.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry to hear that.
so that was yeah, that was
Yeah.
a good one. But let me ask you this. So how long have you been writing? Like from your first one in this genre until now you have your recent one getting ready to be released.
February, March last year.
Really?
Yep. Not that long ago. Yeah, I'm a newbie, but I
And
will
you're
say that, yeah, and people generally are surprised by that. But when I guess it comes back to the ADHD again, when I'm focused, I'm really focused.
yeah.
And so I will research the hell out of it, whatever I'm doing. And I put a lot of effort into what works, just like you are with your podcast. It's not just put something out there and hope people read it and they like it and all right, I've done that, that's enough. No, it's constant, it's every day, and it's the passion behind it that's going to fuel that as well. But it's hard work. It's not easy writing, and it's not easy in any creative field,
Yeah.
really. So uh, when I do it 110%. And it enables me to work from home. It enables me to talk to my dog most of the day. We have great conversations. So, that's the life, right? It's better than, when I worked in corporate back, in my 20s and all that sort of thing, working for someone else. My partner says, as he goes to work, he's a painter. He goes, "You're living the life." And I go, "Hell yeah, I am."
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
earned it.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't take it for granted because they may like my books today, but it doesn't mean they're going to like my books tomorrow. So,
Right.
as I said, I'm going to run with it as long as I can. But yeah, I'm pretty much just a newbie, so I've got a ton of ideas in my head, some good, some bad, some indifferent. But if there's a
Yeah.
story to tell, there's a story to tell, and I'll put it out there. And if it's people like it, people like it. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
If not, I'll find something else.
I'm not going to go through this entire list of questions because I feel we're just having a great conversation. And that's
Yep.
kind of what I want this to be. I don't want it to be kind of like a cookie cutter interview. And
Mm.
that's what I try not to get on the rails
Yep.
about, and doing so tell me this. So what do you think about that? That'll come
Yeah.
up in a conversation,
Correct.
I kind
Correct.
of look at my notes here just to try to get, okay,
Direction.
yeah, kind of direction. Because I know in an email that you and I exchanged, no, I understood you. After you explained to me that you didn't have an encounter, I'm not gonna
Mm.
lie and say I wasn't bummed, but I you said you're not a researcher, but you are a researcher, because when you write your books, you
Mm-hmm.
research things for that, and that's kind of where I
Yes.
was going with it. Is like, what do you do to prepare? Like what is the research process that you go through? So say next week you're going to start another book, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to write a book about Kushtaka encounter, or the Kushtaka, the otter man in Alaska. Um
Mm-hmm.
you know what are like some of the steps you would take to kind of research that to understand
yeah,
what?
to make it believable, and people will pick up. If you don't do your homework, people will pick up and you'll find out about that in the reviews or the lack of sales. So absolutely research has got to be done. And so far I've stuck to what I've known when it comes like Sasquatch and Dogman. Because I listen to so many podcasts, because I read so much about them. And for some reason it sticks in my head. In other important stuff doesn't. But we can't choose, right? So in the future I'll sort of branch out to other cryptids. But in terms of research, I've got to figure out, unless it's a series that's progressing, I've got to figure out where I'm going to have it, like where it's going to be based. And I've been to a lot of places in the States, but I haven't been everywhere. And as I said, Forest of the Sasquatch, I've been to Superior National Forest a few times. So I knew the general layout and the area, Duluth and things like that. But my first book, I don't really even know why, but I set it in Missouri. I've never been to Missouri, but I had to do my research on what Missouri was like other than what I'd heard on podcasts. So, you're scouring the internet and I look at a lot of photos of, okay, yeah, it's a little bit hilly. It's pretty flat here and there. And I look up the population, and then most of the time I'll make up a town. But then I look up, okay, what sort of people live in this town? What do they sort of do for jobs, that sort of thing, just to get a feel of what sort of small town I'm building here. Because I want it to be as authentic as it possibly can. Otherwise, it's not believable. Mm-hmm. And then people will lose interest in that chapter or whatever, and they'll move on. They'll close the book. And there's so many thousands of books out there that don't give them a good reason to close that book up. Particularly if they're reading a ebook, they'll just, turn that off and get another one. So there's a lot of, I guess, internet research. And I also, as I said, I like Reddit. I've asked there before about when it comes to what sort of guns people are using. Mm-hmm. Again, fascinated by guns.
Are you?
Oh, yeah. And obviously, Australian, we're not as big on the guns here as the States. But I'd love to get my license, and I can get my license soon. In case of a zombie apocalypse or something, I think. That's what I tell my family. I want some sort of, gun or whatever, but I'd love a grenade launcher. They're my favorite. That'd be awesome to have.
Well, when I was in the military, I was an Air Force security police officer, and I've shot Mark 19s. Do you know what those are?
I think so.
They're automatic. They're belt-fed automatic grenade launchers.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
And they are magnificent. I've shot 203 grenade launchers. The M203 that's attached to the M16. Bugger. Oh, I've shot so many. I've shot the Steyr AUG. I've shot that. That's an Australian. That's an Australian gun. I've shot. You name it, I've probably shot it.
That is so cool.
But if you're ever back here in Minnesota, we'll connect and I'll take you shooting.
Well, see, when I was in Minnesota, up in Ely, I asked people, can I go shooting? And then I sort of Googled and it said because I wasn't a resident, I wasn't allowed to even just have a day permit or whatever.
Well, we don't give day
permits. Oh, we'll just hand you the gun. And I was like, yeah, you need to teach me the safety. Everything, because I've never, only done it at a range. So
I'm a firearms instructor as well.
Okay,
like legit. I'm certified, to train, permit to carry, and all that type of stuff. So, I would love if you're in my area.
I'll come there just for that. Absolutely,
it'll be a good
time. It's so much easier there than here. But as I was saying, that I don't have that experience of knowing what guns are going to pack the biggest punch, or is it overkill, or is
Mhm.
it too heavy to, for an FBI agent, special agent to be running through the woods with? I've got to make it somewhat, realistic. So I did try asking a few people on Reddit, and they said, do your own research. And I was like,
Yeah.
but I am. I get it, but at the same time, I get conflicting information if I Google, a particular gun, or, I watch a lot of YouTube videos on different types of guns.
Yeah.
And see how they fire. And I'm like, yeah, that would pack a punch to a Sasquatch, or that's just going to annoy one. But, obviously I'll look for something like what's going to take down a bear, but what's easy to, carry if they're going, for a good walk into the woods or something. So I do my research in that sort of way, and I probably take more time in research. I wouldn't say more time than writing the book, but I'm not stingy about the research.
Yeah.
Put it that way. And you can't be. I think if you, particularly, even fiction or non-fiction, but no, you can't just slap something together and hope people enjoy it. They won't. They'll see straight through.
Yeah. That's some good advice. I really appreciate that, because believe it or not, I'm soaking all this in because I would really like to finish a couple of books that I got going on. So
I think you'll surprise yourself.
Yeah.
You really will. Go for it.
I appreciate that. Words of encouragement, you guys. So let me ask you this. So do you consider yourself more of a skeptic, a believer, or something in between when it comes to the cryptids you write about?
Oh, definitely believer when it comes to Sasquatch. Dogman, probably 99%, because that 1% is, I don't want it to be real.
Yeah.
Sasquatch, I'm okay being real. Dogman, yay. But no, I believe they exist. You can't get that many people to agree on the one thing like that, when it certainly doesn't benefit them to tell you their story and, appear, crazy or whatever. So, yeah, definitely not a skeptic. I don't doubt that some people fudge their stories or, enhance it or whichever, just for, attention. Some people like the attention. But, 99% of the stories or encounters are probably damn right real. So, yeah, I'm on the believer side. And mainly, not just, even if I hadn't, gone into this genre of writing about them or listening to podcasts from the start, I'm a firm believer is just like when it comes to aliens or whatever, I don't know everything, and I never will. No one will. And so I'm not that ignorant to think that I know of, or man knows of everything that exists on this planet or in the universe. Why would I think that it's not possible? Anything's possible. So if someone comes and says, they saw some, like you said, the Glimmer Man down in Tasmania, who am I to say that no, he didn't, or that that thing doesn't exist? I don't know everything. So therefore, anything I see is possible, but doesn't mean I'll believe every single story that's ever told to me either. But I won't discount it to the person. I'll just be like, that's interesting, and you move on. But no, the world's too big of a place and so many isolated places that anything can exist, and they can exist there and I'll exist here.
Yeah. What cryptid fascinates you the most, and why?
Maybe the Dogman, just mainly because of it's just different from the Sasquatch to me. It's given its evil side, its evil feeling that it gives out and all that. And I don't see them, Dogman, to be such, like sometimes people will say most of the time they'll see just one Dogman, and other times they'll see a pack or two or whatever. But more so, in my experience, I've heard more stories about Sasquatch being there's always, if there's one, there's likely two.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll say family unit or something like that. They're more sort of similar to humans in the fact that they've got the family unit, whereas you don't see the Dogman have the family unit as much as Sasquatch. So are they a pack animal similar to wolves? Or are they primarily, just a one person show? I don't know. I think that's interesting, sort of, to go down and start thinking about that kind of thing. But I just wonder where the Dogman comes from. Like, you can talk about it for days in terms of what Sasquatch is and all that sort of stuff. But like I say, if the Egyptians had, and I can never remember the name,
Anubis.
if they put, drew them on the walls and whatnot, they're not looking up Google or they're not watching the latest Netflix movie to see that thing exists. It had to come from somewhere, right? So if it was from back then, well, maybe it was always there. Maybe it was, and who am I to say it hasn't been? But no, I'd say most fascinated is Dogman, but my favorite would be Sasquatch.
Yeah. We got a question from someone in chat.
Go for it.
What cryptid is most commonly sighted down under?
Probably the Yowie. The Yowie is the one I hear about the most. Don't really hear about any other cryptids. Dogman. I've listened to a few encounters about Dogman.
Really?
And one not too far from me, unfortunately. About an hour, maybe 45 minutes drive. And if anyone wants to look that one up, it would have been on. I think he appeared on the Dogman Encounters podcast, but he was kayaking.
Vic Cundit.
Yeah. He was kayaking on a river that he'd done many times before. And he heard, rustling in the bush, something large coming through. And I think he originally thought it was a Yowie. But then he took a photo and he looked at the photo later and realized, it's got the two pointy ears.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been back to there. He has his own YouTube account now too. He just, posts when he goes out and videos the area and whatnot. But, he didn't expect to see those ears pop up. But it's a pretty clear photo. For a Dogman photo, it's pretty, you can clearly see the ears. The Dogman's starting to become more popular here, unfortunately. We would be the most popular. Back in the day, probably the bunyip.
The bunyip. That's what I was thinking about.
The bunyip. I mean, I didn't even know. Like, we've got it in the old songs we used to sing as kids, but I couldn't tell you, a bunyip story if I can make one up, I guess. But
nice.
But no, bunyip's rarely mentioned these days.
So, would you like to do a little show and I would like to do a little show and tell. Would you be interested in hearing some stuff that's been sent to me or seeing some stuff that's been sent to me? So
absolutely, hear me.
All right. So everybody on here has seen these at least once or twice. And what we'll do is we'll go with a little bit of show and tell. So my buddy Harley Owens, really good guy, young guy, like 25, really gets out, does a lot of on the ground, boots on the ground investigation in his area around Tennessee. He's even gone up in the LBL a little bit, land between the lakes. And this was one of his research areas in Tennessee. The background on this is, I believe he's out in the woods with his stepdaughter's dad, or I want to say maybe his brother-in-law, but anyway, he's out with a friend, out with another person, and they're walking through these woods. I think they're scouting out for hunting, and they hear something behind him. So he just turns around and takes 3 quick pictures, goes home, starts looking at the pictures, and this is what he found.
Oh, yeah. That's very similar to the photo of the kayaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what else is that? It's not Fido standing on his 2 legs.
Nope, it's not. And just look at the eyes, how black the eyes are.
Yikes,
You can see the snout, you can see the pointed ears. You see the
Mhm.
left ear pointed, you can kind of see the right one a little bit. But yeah, that's one of the craziest pictures that he's ever sent me. And he sent me some really good pictures.
I wouldn't recover if I saw that
No.
in real life. I just wouldn't. Admit me now, I'd say, because
Yeah,
no.
no, thank you.
Mm.
This was sent to me by a good friend of mine, Daryl Adams, and he bought some property in Oregon called Owl Moon Labs. That's what it was nicknamed. And he's encountered tons of stuff. He's since moved to Oklahoma, but then I heard he's selling his property in Oklahoma and then moving back to Oregon, not far away from where Owl Moon Labs is. So these are some of the things that he has been finding on his property. That's a tree twist.
Human can't do that.
Nope.
And wind can't do that, surely.
Nope. He found this in
Power.
that is straight power. Imagine
Not
how
much good.
strong you have to be to do something like that.
That's insane.
Then he sends me this picture.
Wow, that's a squarish foot, isn't it, at the top? But you can clearly see that toe. That big toe. Looks like my big toe, unfortunately.
I think he said this thing right here, this one measured 17 or 18 inches.
Yeah, that's where I back out of that area. Yikes.
And this is another one.
Massive.
That's huge. Here's another one that he sent me.
Ooh. That's insane.
I don't think Daryl sent me this one, but I think someone else sent me this one. But he also sent me this one. Daryl sent me this one.
Ooh, it's a sort of like a thinnish foot. Like I've got a wider foot than that, but wow.
But the crazy thing about this is it's very deep in the ground.
So it's going to have to be a heavy individual to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one day he was out walking this property, and they went up this trail, and they were up in this area for about an hour and a half. And he looked down, and his miniature Australian Shepherd named Izzy, he noticed that she was panting, and he went to grab a water for her, and he realized he left it in the truck at the beginning of this trail. So he says, "Come on, girl, let's go back. We'll get you some water." So he's walking down the same trail, the exact same trail. And then he discovers this in the middle of the trail.
What?
It's a thermos.
Yeah.
And it has moss growing on it.
How bizarre.
Yeah. And he said this out loud. He goes, "Oh, girl, I forgot the water in the truck. We'll go back down. Let's go back down and get you some water." And coming back down the trail,
how would it know? How would it know, other than watching humans for a good amount of time, to know that they unscrew the cap, water comes out of there, or liquid comes out of there? Like that's really observations over time to know that. I mean, thanks, Mr. Sasquatch, but wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's crazy. And then he sends me, let's see, here we go. So he sends this picture. So inside the circle, you see the tree that's right in the middle of the circle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look just to the left of that tree, you kind of see something sticking out from the left side of that tree.
Yep.
Okay. So he takes this picture, and then this is the next picture.
Ooh.
He moved over a little bit and took this picture.
Wow.
And you're seeing the back, the back and the back part of the the tricep,
Yep.
and then like the right.
Is it running for it? It looks like it's sort of running away from.
Just nonchalantly walking up the side of that mountain or side of that hill,
Wow.
and that's a steep hill. And he said it walked up there like it was nobody's business.
Wowzers!
Now, one of the craziest stories that he ever relayed to me is that his dog, his wife and him had just come home from church,
Mm-hmm.
and their dog would always meet him at the door.
Yep.
And
it's not a sad dog story, is it?
No.
Okay, good.
No. So he starts looking for her, and he can't find her. For the life of him, he can't find her. He has no clue where she could be. Well, his wife starts looking for her, and they're calling her name and everything. And he goes into the living room. Guess what he finds in the middle of his living room floor?
Not his dog, obviously.
No. A perfectly round, smooth stone about this big around and about that thick. And it's sitting right in the middle of his living room floor.
And he came home and the doors were closed. And
doors were locked. There's no broken glass anywhere.
I'm moving. Yeah,
so they find their dog underneath their bed, and it refused to come out. They said it took her a little while to come out from underneath that bed.
Yeah, she probably needed to be admitted to the psych ward too. Oh my gosh.
So Daryl also has sent me some really cool audio.
No, this always freaks me, but I love it. Go for it.
Okay. So these are out in the woods right by his house. This is part of the property that he owns.
Mm-hmm. That's insane.
And then this.
Yeah, no thanks.
And then this.
You probably know animals better there than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I know a good amount of them, but that sounds not normal for the woods there, is it? Anywhere in the States, I would imagine.
And you've heard of Ron Moorhead, correct?
Once or twice.
And then the Sierra Sounds?
Yeah, sure have.
Now, have you heard
these? Yes.
Have you heard these Sierra Sounds?
Where has that been taken?
Okay, that is in the same area. That's samurai chatter. I meant to say samurai chatter, but that's taken in the same area where he captured the yeah. And what he described. I've got Ron in my phone. Ron's been on my show a couple times. I'm helping Ron and Daryl Denton on their podcast to get it started and up and running. I just have to show them a couple things. And I'll be able to do that.
Leave? Sorry, did he leave a mic like in the
Yep.
woods and then came back for it and heard that?
Yep, that was left in an area about 40 feet up in a tree. A microphone was, and they believe that it's a male and a female Sasquatch having an argument. And
Yeah,
he says,
it sounds similar.
yeah, that's
I've heard
crazy.
people who argue. But
Yeah.
what I found interesting was, other than obviously they're using their voice and it sounds frantic, and it just sounds like if I didn't know English and I heard a male and a female arguing,
Mhm.
it's very fast, it's frantic. But there was also snorts in there as well.
Mhm.
What sounded like snorts, anyways. And I wonder if that's part of it, or like we do, we snort here and there when we laugh and then don't actually mean it. So yeah, fascinating.
And then
Creepy,
I
isn't it?
have, let's see, where is it? I have, this is believed to be a Dogman howl or vocalization that was captured on a Ring camera.
Here we go.
Yikes. I'm moving. I'd be constantly moving. I mean, like I watch my Ring camera, and if I ever captured that, holy mackerel, there's not enough drugs in the world to help me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like that's creepy as hell. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, I get so excited when people send me stuff. I have so much stuff. And my buddy Josh on Mysteries Unknown, and I know he would love to have you on his show. He is, to me, has such a better show than mine. It's what I believe. People in the chat will
Everyone's
probably,
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now him and I have both been very blessed and privy to a lot of video and stories that will never come on the show. The stories will never be read on the show. The two videos that we have that I've been able to see, we were both asked and sworn to secrecy. We could talk about the video that we saw, but we can't show it. And so the one video that the very first one that he sent me, it was this lady. She's looking outside, like her sliding glass door out into her backyard, and it's daytime, and she sees something, and she has like some nut trees that are near the back part of her property, and she stops because she saw something move, and so she looks again, and then she sees this thing. It stands straight up, and in the video it's massive. It's in the kind of shade of these trees, so you don't get a really clear look at its face. Plus, she's not right up against the window. She is back inside of her like dining room, videoing this thing because she wants to video it as much as she can. And she sees it bend down again, and it picks something up and puts it in its mouth. And then it bends down again and picks like a handful of something, and then bends down one more time and grabs hold of something. And then the way it reacts is like it heard a noise. And so it, like 2 steps and it's out of camera frame. And what she was believing that it was doing, it was picking up nuts off of the ground. And it shoved a handful in its mouth and then grabbed some more, and then once it heard the noise, it took off.
How do you ever go outside again?
I don't know.
Would you? Like if you saw one near you?
Yes, I would. I would try to set up so many. Oh, I would. I would.
But packed and loaded, you would.
So I had a question. Ron won't have that type of equipment, I don't think. Joanne, are you talking about Ron Moorhead not having that type of equipment? No, he has that equipment, and that he was up with a group of people when that samurai chatter was captured. So Ron has a lot of equipment, trust me.
No, he would.
But
I did see earlier someone asked about how did the Yowies go with the heat here, Man, I've been hotter in Chicago. I've been hotter in Calgary than I have been here. We've got the desert in the middle of the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's rock and whatnot there, but I mean, we have sort of mild winters, like we were in winter now, but the heat here is, I don't know, like a hot summer day would be 90 degrees where I'm living on the coast here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, closer to the middle of Australia, you're going to get really hot. And I've driven across from Sydney to Perth with my sister years ago. And that was like you get out of the shower and you instantly, that was in the middle of the outback, you're instantly sweating, 2 seconds after a shower. That was crazy. And I don't know how people live like that. But I think Australia's misrepresented a lot in movies that you get off the plane at Sydney Airport and 2 seconds later you're in the outback. That'd be insane. So, yeah. Up in Queensland, it's a bit warmer than it is here. It's closer to the equator. I think they'd fare just as well as they would say, in the middle of the USA, even just like Arkansas. And I mean, Texas, my gosh, I got off the plane in Texas. I think I flew into Dallas and I wanted to go outside for air. And oh my gosh, I did a turnaround, like out, back in. I couldn't believe how humid it was there. I thought I've never felt that, where I live. That's insane how people, deal with that. But you get used to it, I guess. But yeah, so I hope I answered that question for whoever asked it. Sorry.
Do you ever watch that show, Naked and Afraid?
I did a while back, but like one episode or something. But yeah, why's that?
Did you see any episodes recently? Because I just saw a video maybe a month or so ago, and I think they're in Australia, or they filmed this particular season in Australia. And they're out. There's a couple of people. I think there's like 3, maybe 4 people in their little group now. I guess they're doing like a team thing where they meet up and they form alliances or whatnot. I really don't watch it that often. But these 2 are out. It's a guy and a girl. They're out exploring, looking for stuff. Maybe they could find wood or whatever. And they come across this big pile of like grass or whatnot, right?
Yep.
And they're, oh, look at that. And, they go and they walk around it. One guy said that he actually laid in it. And, they're looking around. And then they go back to their little base camp, where they've set up. And like, man, you're not going to believe what we saw. We saw like this. And they thought it was like a bird or something like that, right? And they're like, oh, we saw this huge nest. And it was just gigantic. And it was like neatly packed in around. And, and one of the camera crew that was with them, I guess they got on their walkie-talkie and they made a call because all of a sudden one of the producers show up and they're like, tell us about what you saw. And he goes, oh yeah, it's this, we saw this. And I laid in it. And he goes, okay, so what we need you to do is you need to stay away from that area because it's an endangered species here. Oh, really? Well, what is it? Is it a bird? It's like, no, it's more like a primate. And the guy goes, oh, you mean like Sasquatch? And the producer, he goes, well, yeah. He admits to it. He admits on camera that yes, what they found, they very well believe that it was that it was like a bedding area for a yowie.
That is,
and if I can find it, I'll send you the link.
Please.
It's amazing.
I heard that.
It's amazing. So, I got another question here for you.
Fascinated, yeah.
I need to go to Australia. The only thing I'm worried about Australia are your massive spiders that are bigger than this.
No, they're not.
Your brown snake that has a bad attitude.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
I just hate bugs. I do.
So do I, but I found Minnesota, my gosh, summer. Those flies there.
Flies and the mosquitoes.
Instant mosquitoes. They're
Yeah.
worse than here.
Mhm.
I was flabbergasted when I came out of the house once, and they just attack you. And they must like Australian blood. I don't know, but yeah, there was a fight, that's for sure, between the mosquitoes and me. But no, my mum was bitten by a funnel web spider.
Oh, good night.
How big was she? Probably that big.
That spider?
Yeah. That was when we were in primary school.
Oh.
And yeah, she just went to the hospital and spent overnight, and she got bitten by the female, which is more venomous, but she got bitten between the fingers, bringing in the laundry from outside on the line. And so, we were popular at school the next day that your mum got bitten by a funnel web. Yep. We milked it for all that attention, but she was totally fine. It didn't get a really good bite on, didn't latch onto a finger or anything. But when we moved into that house up in Sydney, my dad was, for some reason, the guy had built the house. There was a lot of concrete under the grass, so Dad got out his fork and dug it all up, and he had funnel webs everywhere. And he'd say they'd rear back on their back legs, and he'd just chop them with the axe or something like that. Some we gave to the uni, but he made the mistake of putting a female in with a male. The female ate the male, killed him. So yeah, we put them in separate after that. But it was just, when I know people say the crazy snakes and things like that. I love snakes too. I don't want to come across a brown, that's for sure. But they're not as popular as you think, unless you're bushwalking. I guess you'd probably see them more. But no, I'd be more worried about the cougars over there, the silent ones coming up behind you and stuff like that, or not necessarily bears, but like you've got things that can devour.
Yeah.
Whereas you get a bite from a snake, you get a bite from a spider. I don't know, it's not as scary to me, but I can imagine it's scary to other people. So, but I think you'd be surprised in how much you'd enjoy Australia, that it's much different than what is depicted to the USA audience. Yeah, much, much nicer. And, people are okay. There's some idiots, obviously, anywhere, but generally speaking, it's a pretty cool area to live.
Yeah. So someone asked, have you been anywhere in Alaska or just hanging out at the beach? With laughing emojis.
Have I been to Alaska?
No. In Australia. Have you been anywhere else in Australia or just to the beach?
It's funny. I've probably seen more of the States than I've seen of here. We've got the beach. We've got mountains. We get snow. We don't get snow where I live, but down south they've got the ski fields. And they've got, it's called Perisher Valley. It's very big in winter, snowing, skiing and whatnot. And the mountains here, they get the snow like an hour outside of Sydney. So there's plenty of things to see. It's just pretty much just, like over there. But I just prefer the landscape over there. I just find it much more beautiful. And in Canada, holy smokes, that's just beautiful landscape. The color of their lakes and all that sort of thing. But it's, to me, what I love about it is the animals just make it seem more wild. Like you go to Canada or, Yellowstone's my favorite place on earth. Having those types of animals in the woods just makes it more feel wild to me than having, say, a kangaroo in the bush. These predators are just, humongous, and you could be bitten, you could be chased, you could be killed, whichever. And I just find that just much more interesting and cool than, say, our animals. Koala bear could bite you, and that would hurt, but it's not really dangerous. So
I've eaten kangaroo before. It's pretty good.
have you? I haven't, but my dog has. But yeah,
I have. It's pretty
How
good.
did you like the kangaroo?
Loved it. I'd eat it again.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. It was so good. Very lean meat. Very good.
Well, I'm not a huge, I'm extreme picky eater, but kangaroo is becoming more popular here, but though it's not very popular. But yeah, if you went to a particular, like a higher end restaurant, there'd probably be kangaroo on the menu.
That's where I ate it. It was called Hell's Kitchen. That's the name of the restaurant, and it's very eclectic. And they have really cool,
different sort of
types
things.
So, okay. So here's a question: do you blend real reports and fictional elements in your storytelling?
Sure do. Like I think I've mentioned it before. Like if I hear an encounter that I'm listening to from a podcast, certainly won't copy that encounter because, people that listen to these podcasts, they're going to know I've just stolen it. So that's boring. I'll daydream about the encounter, but put a different spin on it. Or, they'll like, I change it up, but it may give me inspiration. So these things that have happened in real life to other people, I'll use that as inspiration for an encounter in the book that's, that happens. Or 9 times out of 10, I come up with my own and think, my God, that's freaky. I'd freak out if that happened. I just see the scene in my head. And so I write about it. But, man, I love my naps. So, again, I'm old. It's nap time sort of thing. So that, and I've always had trouble sleeping. So I'll spend about an hour or two before I actually fall asleep, just picturing scenes in my head of, where the story's up to. And I'll be like, okay, this is where I'd like it to go. And then I'll picture a scene. And then I run it off that. As long as I've got like just a little bit of a sort of a breadcrumb for a scene, it runs into, something bigger. And then, the breadcrumbs come again. And they'll go, okay, I'll just lay down for a nap, but 2 hours later, I'm still thinking about the story. So it's usually how it works. But of course, everyone's different.
Nice. So do you think, let's see here. Okay, do you think there is one cryptid that you feel is most likely to be proven real one day? Now, people in this community who have seen it, we know they're real. Beyond the shadow of doubt, we know they're real. But when you bring the science into it, like you have, Jeff Meldrum and, the scientists that are out here trying, cryptozoologists that are out here really trying to prove that these things do exist.
Yeah.
Which one do you think is most likely to be proven real?
I think probably Sasquatch, mainly because there are that many scientists, genuine people and, skilled and educated and all that sort of thing, doing their hard work with it. Whereas you don't see it so much from the Dogman or, other cryptids. But having said that, I'm a firm believer the government already knows they exist. Come on. And, your government, my government, everyone's government knows they exist. And whether they'll allow it to come out is another thing. So Mr. Meldrum may find 100% irrefutable proof, but the powers that be may stop him, or it suddenly goes missing, or things like that crap happens all the time. So I would lay my cards down for Sasquatch if the government allowed it to come out for various reasons, obviously. I think we all know that one. They've already, known that for many, many years they exist. But, having said that, I think in some ways I'd like it to come out and everyone know about it, and it would be a big ha-ha to all those people that, mock you online for saying that it's real and whatnot. But I think for the Sasquatch, I'd rather it not come out.
Yeah.
Because they get left alone much more now than they would if it came out. And then you've got the idiots going out shooting them. I want to get myself a Sasquatch or whatnot. There'd be more people looking for them if it came out that they do actually exist. So for Sasquatch's sake, I hope it doesn't come out. But yeah, it's a double barrel there.
It is, and here's the thing, there was a family unit on the property that my dad, myself, and my little brother lived on. It was 5.5 acres or 5 acres of land. He had cleared like 3/4 of an acre. We lived in a fifth wheel, which is a camper, because he was building a house. And that's where I saw the female standing on the side of the road. We were coming home real super late one time. And then before that had happened, I felt like something had tried to push over our camper. And when I looked out the window, I saw something walking off into the woods. My little brother saw the 2 juveniles, had interactions with the juveniles. And then I did have a clear sighting of the father, you would say, but you knew when he was around. Just you had this overwhelming sense of just like not dread or gloom, but like heaviness in the air, like
heaviness,
yeah, and you knew it was there. So, right now we have 2 people from Australia in the chat. We have Jeff and Spiderbite, and Jeff just made a very interesting comment. And Spider did. Spiderbite said it seems more people are seeing Dogman here, probably why they are locking up national parks now. Are they doing that really in Australia? They're locking up national parks?
I haven't heard of it, but I wouldn't put it past anyone. I know there was Yowie encounter. I think he was on Sasquatch Chronicles only recently, like within the last couple of months, and that was within a national park. And when he went back there, there were the gates were all closed, and you couldn't get in, and access has sort of been limited. Probably like what happens there, also about endangered species are in here now. We've got to close it off. So
endangered species. Yeah,
exactly. They get away with it like that. So wouldn't doubt it. Absolutely not. Our government, it's just as bad with that sort of stuff. So
here's another show and tell. Steamboat, who's in the chat, sent me this video. Now, I'm not sure. Steamboat, correct me if I'm wrong. Was this video sent to you, or were you at the person's house and you videoed the video that I'm about to show? Because I've had a lot of people asking questions like, okay, why is there a dog whining in the background? So I just want to make sure. But anyway, Steamboat provided me with this video. I put it on my TikTok channel. It got over 184,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so here is that video. What you're going to see something. Vonnie, if you're going to bed, good night, my friend from Scotland. Have a restful sleep. Watch from left to right. It was sent to you. Okay, because I had some questions. I had some people ask questions. How did the dog get in the audio? So you could hear a dog whining in the background. But here's this video. It's amazing. The story of it is this person is having issues with something. And this was taken either the night of Thanksgiving or the night after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And so this person built a live trap out of these old refrigerator shelves that are like all metal. And they built a live trap, put it out behind this fence. So this fence, it's a 4-foot fence, but then there's another 4-foot extension on this fence. So it's an 8-foot fence in total. And it's taken in East Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason the live trap is put out here is because this guy's having issues with raccoons and other things like that. And he doesn't want to kill the raccoons. He just wants to, put them someplace else, relocate them someplace else. And so this is what the security camera catches in the backyard. Now watch from left to right.
Mm-hmm. That bugger's tall.
Yep.
As you
can see in the thing, he says that its name is Samson, and the reason that they know its name is Samson is because this Sasquatch has been trying to communicate with the male owner, and he's not perceptive of it. So he has communicated with the gentleman's wife, and she is receptive to it. And he said, "My name is Samson." They guesstimate is at least 10 feet tall, over 800 pounds, and they found tracks that are 17 inches long, 6 inches wide, 17 inches by 6 inches. And I'm still waiting for the gentleman to send pictures of the trap and the tracks to Steamboat, so Steamboat can send this to me, because that's another question I get. Where are the pictures of the trap? And what he did is he went over to the live trap, bent down, peeled the live trap open like a sardine can, reached in, grabbed the raccoon, and then went about his business back to the left.
Oh, poor raccoon. But
well, raccoons are nasty little buggers up here. They get into stuff,
stuff
up. So, but yeah,
got rid of it for him at least, I guess.
So I have 2 last questions.
That's crazy. Okay, let's go.
So, what would you say to someone who's had an encounter but is afraid to talk about it?
I think you got to find your people. You got to find, like, we know social media is a cesspool of judgment and hate and all that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't be going there. That's for sure. I would be looking on the forums, I guess, do my research again, finding someone that I can relate to, someone that is maybe talked about their encounter more and might have been an older encounter, so they're more comfortable talking about it. And just getting to know them so you feel comfortable and can trust them, that they're not just going to, point and laugh at you as soon as you tell them. So I just, absolutely tell someone. It can free you a little bit, make you feel a lot better. But I do my homework on who I told and who I trust. But definitely not social media.
Yeah.
That's never going well.
I have a hard time with Reddit, and the reason I have a hard time with Reddit is I've been permanently banned on 4 different subreddit page groups or whatever. Yep, permanently banned. Simply asking a question. Hey, I have a podcast. I'm looking for anybody that's had this type of encounter. If you're interested, please message me, and I'll send you my email, and we can connect. Permanently banned. So then it says, if you believe this is an error, go ahead and just ask the admin. So I asked the admin, and I have been permanently muted by the moderators or admin from asking questions as to why it was banned. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I had like a post up I'd put up a while back, and it was taken down. And then I messaged the mods and asked why, because I looked at the rules, didn't go against them or whatever made up rules they had, but never got back to me. So yeah, it can absolutely be like that. But
they are.
yeah, and I mean, you can find people on, like as people are talking in the chat here, some real genuine people here. You may be able to find them through this sort of chat. Doesn't have to be, Reddit by any means. There's a lot of fools on Reddit, and it's very judgmental on there too.
Yeah.
So I just get just be picky with who I told, but I definitely tell someone when the time is right.
Absolutely. And my last question is,
Mm-hmm.
if you could have a sit down and ask one question to any cryptid, which one would it be, and what would you ask them?
That is an insane question. Gosh, I'm going to look at the chat, see if anyone's asked it yet, to answer the question yet, so I can have a good answer. I don't know. I'd have to seriously think about that one, but I don't know. Probably if I had it with the Sasquatch, I'd probably ask, "What are you?"
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the obvious question. Oh gosh, same with a Dogman, but I don't think Dogman's gonna, like me asking questions. No one's come up with an answer that's better than mine yet.
Nope. I got a lot of people that are talking about friendly possums because Steamboat is like a nomad. He's like a gypsy in a way. And again, I want to hear people, oh, you can't use that word. You can't say gypsy. Y'all need to understand, I have two like bona fide gypsies in my family. One is my great aunt. Her name is Froso. And she's from the old country, and she is a bona fide gypsy. And then I'm not going to mention my other cousin because she's still around, but she's also a bona fide gypsy. So I have that blood in my body; it runs through my DNA. So anybody wants to tell me that I can't say gypsy, they can bugger off.
I like that. Bugger off, you're learning.
Bunch of tossers.
Tossers. I haven't used that one for a while, but it's very Aussie. Very Aussie.
Oh, I trust me. I love saying stuff to people and using slang from other countries. And Australia is one of my favorite ones. It's one of my favorite ones. So
yeah, we come up with some crazies.
But yeah, so everybody in here, I got a really good question though. Greasebag asked, he goes, "Hey Luka, are there any cryptids that maybe we haven't heard of that y'all have other than the Yowie?"
The only one would be, I guess, the bunyip that I mentioned before, but I can't really think of any. Oh, there'd be plenty in Aboriginal lore, that's for sure. Obviously, they've been here much, much, much longer than us. But, yeah, other than the bunyip, it's not really anything coming to the top of my head, sorry.
No, that's no problem.
No, I think you guys have got enough over there as it is. You got plenty over in the States.
We have some that I hear about and I kind of question. Like, okay.
There's no doubt that, some a bit far-fetched, but...
Like sheep squatch, bat squatch.
Bat squatch, I heard bat squatch.
I'm being serious. I'm like, come on.
Bat squatch,
it's there's other ones out here that I just kind of scratch my head. I'm like,
going a bit too far.
I don't really know, and it's just the fact that I'm gonna cover it because it's a cryptid, and I'm fascinated by it. But then when I'm listening to some of the encounters, I kind of giggle. Like there's one called the the Ahool, Ahool, or it's also known as the it's Athol, Athol, and it's like a flying, like a flying, like a flying monkey gorilla type thing, or a large bat. It's and the last confirmed sighting that I was able to find was like in 1925.
Oh,
You know,
so
so
he's buggered off then.
yeah, and then we have the Sasquatch.
What's the Sam Squatch?
Sasquatch. Have you ever
Squatch.
Sam
Squinch?
Squatch?
Yeah, okay.
He says Sam Squinch, but it's they pronounce it Sam Squatch.
What's
Have you
that
ever
one?
have you ever watched the Trailer Park Boys?
Yes.
Okay, Sam Squatch. Just
Oh, from that. Okay,
yeah,
I get you.
watch that, and it's funny. I love it. So, what? No Wombat Man? You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I
No,
wouldn't be
but it'd
surprised.
be cute. It'd be cute.
Yeah,
Wombats are adorable, and they just shuffle along. But
yeah.
I haven't seen an upright walking wombat or heard of one yet. Never know.
Yeah. So, so people looks like they're having some issues, or they might think, okay, so number one, I have not blocked anybody, and neither has any of my moderators that I know of. I get a lot of regulars in here, and I absolutely love seeing these guys in. So,
Mhm.
that was all of my questions, and I
Awesome.
just had some amazing conversations with you. So,
Yeah,
any
really
more
enjoyed myself.
questions for our fantastic guest, you guys?
Hit me while you can. I
Oh yeah,
love.
don't forget Bat Boy. Have you ever heard of Bat Boy?
No, who's Bat
Oh,
Boy?
it's like in the 80s or the 90s, maybe even early 2000s. And there was I call them rag magazines, like the Inquirer and that type of stuff. And Bat Boy was like like a baby that was born that kind of was like, looked kind of like a bat. And it's, I'll try to find you a picture of the Bat
Be
Boy,
interesting.
and I'll send it to you. It's a goof. It's a goof, but it's so funny. I had a big picture of it on my wall at my desk at work. And yeah, so it was pretty cool. So,
Sounds
but
funny.
so how far back do the Australian Bigfoot sightings go back? National Enquirer. That was the name of the
Hundreds of
magazine.
years, eh?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
the
they're in
Aborigines.
Aboriginal folklore. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, and at least hundreds of years. And then, just like the indigenous folk over there, that's passed down. We all know Sasquatch is talked about in Native American folklore. So it's just the same as, Aborigines here, absolutely. They've, got drawings on the caves and things like that from thousands of years ago. So it goes back just as far. And I assume other countries too that have got their version of Sasquatch.
Yeah. There's a guy I talk to every now and again. He'll pop on, and he's in Australia, and
Mm-hmm.
he does a lot of fishing and stuff like that. And he says that he knows of some like cave drawings, some
Mm-hmm.
Aboriginal cave drawings that he said he'll take some pictures of and send them to me. So,
That'd be cool. I'd like to see them. Yeah.
oh, I have some pictures of. So there's a native tribe in the San Joaquin Valley in North America. I mean, in California,
Yep.
and it's called the Tule River Tribe. And my brother was their land management like officer or whatever for them. He like helped develop their land, their reservation. And he was taken to these cave drawings
Mm-hmm.
or paintings and by an elder, and he has pictures of them, and he sent them to me. And little did I know that my older brother was into this type of stuff. He knows Dave. He knows David Politis. Like he's friends with David Politis. He has him on his phone. He talks to him often,
He's a
and
cool
so
fella. Yeah.
he's going to try to set me up an interview with David Politis, and then
That'd be awesome.
a village or a tribal elder from the Tule River tribe that is now no longer on the tribal council. So now he's more apt to talk about what they see and what they believe. So
Yep.
yeah,
That's
so I'm
great.
super excited about getting those.
Get Pilates on. That would be
Yeah.
one hell of a podcast.
Okay,
Some
so
great work.
what is the bunyip? Someone just asked that.
I'm just going to go to Google for that.
The bunyip, yeah.
That's from my childhood. So,
Yeah.
that was many, many moons ago. So, give me a sec, the bunyip, just for everyone. I mean, everyone else can go to Google too, but just so I don't get it wrong. Bunyip's creature from Australian Aboriginal folklore, traditionally said to inhabit swamps, billabongs, which a billabong is just like a pond, creeks, riverbeds, and waterholes. It's described as a fearsome, man-eating monster with various physical attributes depending on the story, including a mix of animal features like fur, tusks, flippers, and a thick mane. Some stories depict it as a half fish, half man creature. The bunyip is a significant figure in Aboriginal mythology and has also entered broader Australian culture, even appearing in pop culture and tourism. See, that's why I didn't want to say what it is, because, I remember it being, some people say it's this and some that, but yeah, it was in songs from a lot of country songs from years ago and stuff.
Someone asked, is it smaller than a Sasquatch?
Yeah. Bunyip's a small thing. Well, not small, but nowhere near the size of a Sasquatch or even a juvenile Sasquatch.
Yeah.
No, it's supposed to be much smaller.
All right. Well, do you have any questions for me?
No, I think I've had an awesome time. This is really my second official podcast, third technically, but it's sort of, like with on video and all that sort of thing, and just getting used to them. So I really appreciate you having me on, and I really appreciate everyone that's come and had a listen. Really think it's really awesome of you guys. So thank you for spending your time with us. Appreciate
Absolutely. So just to let you know, and I'll send you a link to it as well, tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing a live podcast, and we're going to be talking about, I'll send you, are you on Facebook by chance?
Me, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll find you on Facebook, and then I'll send you a link to this thing that I saw.
Okay.
It's called the East Texas Golem, kind of like that thing out of Lord of the Rings.
Ooh, Lord of the Rings. Oh, that's creepy.
I'm telling you, the video that goes along with this story that they created is absolutely terrifying. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. I'm going to talk about some other stuff. I got books over here that I'll just read stories out of and things like that. So I have a book from Linda Godfrey that I'll read some stories from there. And but yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the channel. And doing this live. I usually do my stuff pre-recorded, but you know what?
Throw yourself in deep end, I say.
Yeah, we can't keep you away from your public, from your fans. So I know you probably picked up some here tonight. So I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna say thank you again. Please stay in touch with me. I'll send you a couple of things, and then
appreciate that.
If you want to just hang out in the lobby real quick, I say my goodbyes to everybody over here. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Everybody, that was Luka. Amazing. Way better than I could have ever imagined. I knew it was going to be a great interview, but it just exceeded what I was actually thinking. She's a genuinely nice person. I really enjoyed listening to her, and I am going to go on Amazon and start buying books. I wish they were an audiobook, but hey, you know what? I'll get it while I can. You guys, thank you so much for jumping on tonight. I know this isn't the normal, thing that I do during the week, but again, thank you everybody for showing up. all the new people that have jumped in, thank you so much for jumping in. And again, remember, you guys, if you'd like to become a member of the channel, it's $2.99, and you get a early access to a Saturday release episode that I do. Remember, I drop new episodes on Wednesday and Friday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Once a month, I do a Saturday release, which members get early access to that. I also do every Saturday, I do a Saturday night live stream where we talk about a specific incident, some stories, a specific cryptid or a group of cryptids. And then once in a while, maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months, I'll do a 2 for Friday where I release 2 episodes on Friday. You guys stand by and get ready because I mean Josh and me, Josh from Mysteries Unknown, we will be launching our new website probably within the week. So you guys take a look when that pops up. Matter of fact, I'll show you what it's going to look like. This is the landing page for it. So you guys look out for Mysteries and Cryptids. Welcome to the home of Mysteries and Cryptids. Host Josh Smith of Mysteries Unknown and Dano Hamilton of the Cryptid Podcast. We're going to bring 2 podcasts under one name, bring it to you guys. So it's like a one-stop shop for you, everybody. So again, you guys, like my buddy Josh always says, stay prayed up. And as I always like to say, you guys remember, a legend always begins with a sighting. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you later.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?